I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Today I have my friend Sophia here, and we will be talking about growing up with bifida in Mexico. So if that's something you want to hear about or learn about or have questions about, please continue watching, like this video. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button if you like what you see, and comment down below with any questions. So here, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi everybody, I'm Sophia. I'm 24 years old and I'm from Morelia, Mexico.
Nice. And we met in the Boundary Society. If you guys were wondering how we met, that's how.
Yeah, we met in the Boundless Baby Society. She's in stage 1 and I'm in stage 2, so
yep,
we met there and we started a friendship.
Yeah, and Sophia also has a YouTube channel, which I will put down in the description, and I will be doing an interview for her channel. So after you're done watching this video, stop what you're doing and go over to Sophia's channel and like it, subscribe to her if you haven't already, and yeah, so right into it. So I know you have kind of bifida. Can you explain what that is in your own words for people who might not know what it is?
So yeah, so spina bifida is it's a birth defect, congenital birth defect. That means that I have born with that, and basically it consists in that the spinal cord doesn't close in its total, it doesn't get closed completely. So depending on the high on the level, on the level of the injury, it could cause another sequels, like another consequences, like hydrocephalus, incontinence, urinary incontinence, and other you're unable to go to the bathroom without help, and you have to do things. You have to be helped to go to the bathroom and to do several stuff. In my case, it's not so severe. I can do most of the things by myself. I can bath by myself. I can go to the bathroom by myself, and I can do most of the things by myself.
Awesome, yeah. That's important to notice with any disability. Every disability has different variations. So, uh, so here on the TV, I often talk about, I often talk about how important it is to not automatically assume because you know somebody with kind of bifida or cerebral palsy that same person that you are meeting will need that same amount of help that the person you already know does, because that's not an assumption you want to make, because it may offend me offend the person that you are trying to be nice and help. So always ask what the person needs. Don't assume and don't do things automatically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something that I always tell. Not every case is the same. Every case is different, And also, you can see some similarities in the case. There is something, maybe a tiny thing that makes the case different.
Right. So you always want to ask the person before you do something, before you try and help, before you assume, before you do anything. Ask. Because the more information you can obtain, the better off you are. Number my next question is, can you explain your kind of better diagnosis learning and how it has affected your life?
So my spina bifida journey, I have been in therapies like since I was three 3 months old, or maybe more. I don't remember. And I have been through several surgeries. I don't remember right now the how many surgeries, but I think
Me either. I don't even remember how many I have.
but I think it's like there's like 10, maybe less, around 10 surgeries. So it have been good. and and I have been in school since kindergarten, and right now I'm in college. I'm in my second semester in college.
Amazing.
And that's most likely.
Nice. Um, in what in what way have you adapted to life with FB?
Well, when I was little, like around 4 to the 6, when I was 4 and to 6 years old,
Yep.
I used I was using a walker, so that's the first equipment that I used. Then one of my hips got dislocated, so we decided that it was it was going to be more difficult to me to walk, and I would need a wheelchair. So since I was 6 years, maybe more, 7, I start using a wheelchair. So I have to adapt everything. So just like that you have to put things on your level. You can't in my house I have to have things that are on my level, like plates, like glasses, like everything. I have to have those I must have those additients in my at my level so I can reach to them. So I have adapt everything, like in my house. Most, like, the kitchen is no not 100% adapted, but I will say that it's more likely for me to to get idea on what I need to do, like um to think on something, and then or buy, maybe I need adamant to get to high spots, or maybe I will need help. But for in my case, I'm like 85 to 90% independent. So the things that I don't do, it's that I don't drive by myself.
Right.
I need like minimum help for showering and things.
Yep.
Maybe.
And everything, well, now you know, adapted. So if
Yep.
you're watching this video thinking, how can I adapt something? There's always a way, and it's important that you never mess up. Always try, and then if you can't try, if you can't do it, don't assume that, oh, I'm a bad person, or oh, I failed, because I can't tell you how many times I tried something and I failed to do it, but doesn't mean that failing is bad.
Yeah, and you can adapt to several things. You know that with a disability, either doesn't matter if it's cerebral palsy or in your case, wait, doesn't matter if it's cerebral palsy like your case or spina bifida like my case, but you have to adapt everything as your everything at your ability to do things. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Definitely. What is the biggest challenge you had to overcome due to FB?
The biggest challenge is inclusion, you know, and you know what I mean. It's
Oh yeah, I know.
I want you to understand that not because you see somebody in a wheelchair, sorry, doesn't mean that they are like
Mentally incapable.
yeah, mentally incapable. So just because you see them in a wheelchair doesn't mean then they're not independent, or they can't live on their own, or they can do things by their own. um it's not a rule for every case. Like I always say, every case it's different. Every case is different, and every case has its complications and its issues, and her, I don't know if that's the word, well, it's easiest things to do and his complications, and every case needs help for something, and not help for other things. So, and don't look a person in a wheelchair, or not only a person in a wheelchair, a person with a disability, like a strange like a strange animal. So you know what I mean, no?
Right. And also because I think often people think, oh, they are mentally disabled because they're physically disabled. That's important to know that that's not true. Also, if you don't know how to approach somebody with a disability, there is a million resources out there, whether it's a YouTube video, a book, newspaper article, medical resources that will tell you how to do it. And always treat them like you would any other human. Because if they can't communicate with you, or maybe it's really hard for them to communicate with you, the person who is with them will portray that message to you after you try, including them in an activity or speaking to them. Because when you automatically assume, hey, this person is disabled, so it means that they can't do A, B, C, D, that could be more effective to the human being than it will ever be to approach them like a normal human being, and for them and not be able to do what you're inviting them to do or communicate back with you. How it's important that you treat them like any other human at first, and then you could ask them, hey, what accommodation can I provide for you?
Yeah, it's like we're not strange things. We're human, just like our neighbors, our parents, and the thing is, I don't know, in United States, in your country, but here in Mexico, as a wheelchair user, it's very difficult because the streets are not adapted, buildings are not adapted, schools are not adapted, even governmental facilities, they are not adapted. So
yeah, and that's the other thing. Not only am here and I talking about the including part of including someone that you meet with in the community into your life. We are typically talking about buildings and ramps and public transportation. Yes, they do have some accommodations for that, but the accommodations that some buildings have are the bare minimum. Literally the bare minimum. And that a rocky paved road isn't doing any good, because it's rocky, or if you don't have a wide ramp, if you have a teeny ramp around this wide, how is a wheelchair gonna sit up that? So
yeah,
what is ADA accessible? What is considered ADA accessible may not be actually ADA accessible. So,
yeah, it's sorry. It's like the thing I always say, the things that may be accessible for me as a SB person may not be accessible for you as a CP person.
right.
So and either for another person with SB.
Right. It's always important, like, if you are out in public and you are not a disabled individual, but you see a messed up ramp or something like that, it wouldn't be a bad idea to mention that to, the company, the establishment, whatever, and all you gotta say is, hey, this is the problem I'm having. This is the problem I noticed. Because the more, how do I want to put it? The more we make it aware the benefit, the better our community will be built. The handicapped people.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not necessarily being rude when you bring it up in the building or establishment. You're just bringing it to their attention, and I guarantee that probably no one else brought that topic up.
Yeah, and well, in my case, I don't, it doesn't matter if you ask me. I don't, I mean, I don't get mad for if you ask me things, or if you, yeah, I don't get angry if you ask me things. I prefer you to ask me because then I can't teach you or I can tell you how I do things because
Definitely.
they're not you are I'm not an expert either. I'm 24 years old. I still have a lot to learn. I'm not an expert either in spina bifida. I'm learning, but maybe in my 24 years in experiencing this, I can teach you what I know based
Yeah.
of what I've experienced in my life with spina bifida, like in therapies, in daily life, and in other things. Like I can give you advice on what I'm not a doctor, but based on my experience, I can tell you this work for me, this doesn't work for me. This one's like this one's by dad. So
Right. And yeah, like Sophia said, me and her both were not expert on disability at all. But we do have knowledge that can probably direct you in the right direction of helping or someone who may have more knowledge, and that's way better than looking at it like we are an alien from outer space.
yeah, that's what I wanna say.
Yep.
Every time that I right now I don't care, but at the beginning I entered to a restaurant and it, everybody looked at me like I was an alien. So
Right.
that means like I'm not an alien. I'm a human being just like you.
Yep. And that you may think that having someone and asking them about their disability is the rudest thing ever. But the one thing ruder is when you stare at someone or go, ew, what's wrong with them? Those are the two rudest things you can possibly do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Can you hear how living with FP in my in Mexico has services like helping doing medicine or anything else?
Well, here in Mexico, like as I said before, it's kind of complicated because there's no, as I said you in the previous questions, like there are ramps that are this way or plants that are this way or really short ramps, and in terms of accessibility it's really difficult. In terms of therapy, in terms of therapy and living, there's a lot of challenges that I have and had overcome to in order to being a person with SB and being a person with a disability in Mexico. I don't want to tell that living in Mexico it's bad, but it's really difficult as a wheelchair user and as a person with a disability.
Right. Hold on, let me pull. All right, Lauren. All right. So we were talking about how is living with FB different in Mexico?
Well, like I said you a minute ago, it's quite not an SB user, but as a wheelchair user, it's kind of difficult living here in Mexico. Because sometimes the ramps are like this high or too short,
Right.
and that they're just to spin or the to too risky. The height is like this, and
right, and they're too high, and otherwise I'm gonna die. You
yeah, and I always think how, and I always think this, how I'm supposed um to be able to get up to this ramp by myself. It's kind of impossible.
right, because at a walker, how I use a walker with two arm holders on top of it, and it's really top heavy. So every time I'm moving up or down the ramp, if I pick up speed, if I'm all of a sudden walking really slow and then head down the ramp, I will pick up speed and start going like 30 miles an hour down the
Yeah.
ramp, not meaningly, and my poor body can't keep up with my walker wheel. How if someone is not holding on to my walker to slow down the speed, I will go upright to down on my face immediately.
Yeah, and that increments the risk of get damage. Like
Right.
sometime I remembered 2 or 3 years ago, I was getting down a ramp by
Yeah.
myself, and I the wheelchair go like whip, and
Yeah.
I fell down and opened my head. So
Ow.
so that's like, it was supposed to be a learning thing, but I only spent like one day at that camp. So I was
Yeah.
like, eh,
Yeah.
don't want to say names because
And
it
so
will.
having real that are actually accessible to those that do independent living or want to be independent as possible, it's really important that you actually have real that are accessible.
Yeah, one of my dreams, my future dreams, is live by myself. I know my father won't be here for my entire life. I know.
Right,
And one of my dreams is to live on my own sometime at some point.
right,
But in order to do that, I have to first find a house that, well, first finish college, then find a house and that really accommodates to what I need. Maybe only one floor, maybe one floor when I can have my room as I need it, my kitchen, everything as I need it in
right,
my according to my height, and everything according into what I need. And right now in Mexico, there are not too many houses when I can find that. Even in
uh,
school, the the 95% of schools that I have been into, they're not adapted. We will always have to find a way to make me things easy, because maybe put a ramp, or maybe get a mobile ramp, or maybe ask for help. I always have to ask for help because in schools it's very difficult that I can do
right.
things by myself. Like,
How did how, how did they offer make people that would help you or no?
sorry.
How when you were in school did they offer people that would help you or no?
they sometimes teachers will help me, or they would ask another student or another classmate to help me.
That,
But
that's really interesting because here in the U.S. we have a program called food that provide every student that needs one with a one-on-one pair with someone who can know walking around with you to every class and
yeah,
what you need.
I had a person that helped me in going to the bathroom and just things like for a week when I was in elementary school. But I could do most of the things by myself. And the things that I knew I have the experience in elementary school with um native English speakers in my school. There were teachers either American or the other Canadian or European teachers, so they're native English speakers. So I had a better experience. I know it's hurtful from here in Mexico to say that, but I had a better experience with teachers that were with foreign teachers.
Right.
With foreign, I mean the teachers that were
Right.
native English speakers than teachers that were Mexican because of the culture, because of the education and the learning that other countries have in were speaking in terms of disability. They willing to help me better, to treat me better, to either one teacher, one English teacher had to talk with the headmasters, with the director that it was Mexican, well, it's Mexican, in order to explain to her why I can't go under a ramp by myself because it I was afraid about falling because the ramp was this way, and the headmasters want me to do it by myself, and I was like,
oh boy, no,
no way. And I was like, no way, I'm not gonna do that by myself. And that happened until the English teacher talked to him because the English teacher was a doctor too. So that's inconsistence about Mexican and American. They have, and not only Americans, in other countries they have a they have better education
disability and education.
and better experience in where we're speaking about people like us.
Right.
Not only wheelchair users, but younger, older people, pregnant people, and people in vulnerable situations, like like uh, persons with a disability, and like handicap, like persons with a disability.
Right. Yep, I definitely agree about it all depends where you come from and or how you're brought up. With a huge reason, I try to open up my platform to multiple like different pathways and different beliefs, and the more knowledge we have, the more point of view, the better word we will become for people with disabilities. So my about when it comes to living with a disability in Mexico or in general?
In general, I want people to know that every case is different and not all people with disability are the same or were the same.
Definitely, I agree. 100%. So, thank you everybody for watching the video. Thank you, Sophia, for being on my channel. And I will put her video with me down in the description. Please go watch and follow her. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.
See you. Thank you. Please subscribe,
Yep.
like, share, and comment.
Yep, definitely. Okay.